Hello, nurse and interwebs. This is F3G2 in the back of the ever-cramping store. You have to shake the accent. It will go away eventually. Always won't. Who knows?
I have to say the last one didn't.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get worse. Mostly they come at night. Mostly. No, that's aliens, not accents. I always forget. Alright, we're filming in the back of the original store because normally we get kicked out of the original store while they straighten it out, so they send us to the new store that we're not in yet. But today they're working in the new store, so they sent us to the original store. You can't see it, but see, we didn't film one last week. So if you were thinking, thank God I didn't have to listen to that guy, here's why. It was a trifecta, like a perfect storm. One, filming day would have been my birthday, which would have been perfect because I could have talked about how great both the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold Convergence number 2's endings were. They were awesome. Dan Jurgens did some great Booster Gold, and he shook it up a little so you could see, wow, Booster Gold, New 52, and original Booster Gold are really very different people. And then now, Booster Gold, spoiler in 3, 2, 1, original Booster Gold is New 52 Wave Rider. What? Crazy, but it's true.
Interesting.
Then, you would have missed on my birthday. I would have to once again say how holy Krapowski, that's how great a job Scott Lobdell did on Convergence Blue Beetle. I cried a little. It was absolutely perfect. If he would write Blue Beetle that way for a New 50, I would read the hell out of it. Or not even New 50, in the what they call it, DCU. But then they went and they screwed me because Convergence ended weekly. The actual Convergence, the one that was weekly, ended weekly. Spelling difference, though. See, it was a weekly book that ended weekly.
W-E-A-K.
Yeah, E-A-K.
But
But
like Death of Wolverine.
They undid the original Crisis, so that, which is fine in and of itself. It still happened, but people from now went back and stopped it from merged, so the worlds never got merged. So now all the worlds are there, but they've quote unquote evolved, which means this awesome freaking Charlton-esque, beautiful world that Scott Lobdell wrote evolved into the Grant Morrison Pax Americana world, which Pax Americana, everyone like, yeah, it's great, but it was really just Watchmen light. I mean, and I get that, yes, the Watchmen characters were originally going to be these characters, and then, so it's all kind of twisted, loopy, clever, meta, Grant Morrison crap, but
Headache.
I've already read Watchmen, and it was great, so I don't need to have Watchmen with my Charlton characters when, they had it. The irony being that Scott Lobdell has written so many things for the New 52 that were just ranging between meh to horrible, and he wrote this, and it was perfect. It was so perfect that I, who would love to find fault in it, didn't.
Did not.
And not only found no fault in it, I found much joy. It brought me much joy. My heart grew 3 sizes that day. And then they said, oh, and it evolved, and it's not that anymore. And I went, you fucking bastards. Alright, let's review some books here. The Old Megaman.
Forgot the rest of it.
Numero uno. Oh, yeah, I distracted myself. Perfect Storm. So, there was my birthday. Then I was sick. I'm still a little sick. I don't know if you can hear it. Who knows? Then there was the minor detail that the day before we filmed, an old lady drove her car into the store. I don't know if you saw the story on Bleeding Cool. It's there. Go look. But a lady drove through Famous Faces and Funnies. And my friend Sean. Not my former co-host Sean. Sean Cobble Sean. She drove through him. So, or drove him through stuff. Tomato. So, there was a lot going on. We didn't film. So now we're back with the Old Megaman, which I wish was worse, because then I could have segued into that with, which is a car wreck in and of itself. But it wasn't. Granted, a lot of it picks up in mid stuff that happened that you didn't actually see happening. So it's like picking up in the middle of a story. Also, most of it is written in an alien language. So, except for the word alpha, you don't really know much of what's going on. I will spoil for you in 3, 2, 1, spoiler. They didn't really kill Kyle Rayner, but nobody thought. Well, no, people actually did. People thought they did, but you knew they weren't, and it's part of the whole thing. I don't know what the whole thing is because most of it's in an alien language, but somehow it was done well enough that I'm actually intrigued enough that I'm going to read the next issue and find out what's going on. Didn't expect that, really. You know what else I didn't expect? I didn't expect to like Midnighter #1, but I did. Much like I said Dan Jurgens did with Booster Gold, which was a lot more tolerable because Dan Jurgens created Booster Gold. So if he says this is the new 52 Booster Gold, this is the guy who created the character. He's allowed to create the new version. That works. But it's made quite obvious he has a whole different origin. He's not the Midnighter that I knew and loved. And at first I was very, what? They're so anti-marriage and relationship in the DCU, unless it's a forced one like Superman and Wonder Woman where there's zero chemistry, but they will put it in every goddamn book. That they even broke up Midnighter and Apollo, the greatest couple in all of comicdom. But it gives like a decent, for this version of him, explanation of, I'm a bastard, and I really loved Apollo. He deserves better than a bastard. Ergo, broke up. So, but nonetheless, this was a beautiful comic to look at and a really good read. So I have no idea who any of these people, Orlando and Echo are, and it's a DC book, so God knows where they hide the credits page. I'm not gonna find it. So, but it was good.
Standard comic there.
Green Arrow #41. It's like Green Arrow's 28th new creative team in the new 52, and it's good. It's a lot better than it was in its horrible train wreck beginnings.
Is this still the guys who work on the show?
No, it's not the guys that work on the show. They're gone, thankfully, because I like the Arrow show, but they weren't really cutting it here. All they really did was just throw in all the Arrow show characters. Ollie makes friends with the wolf, sort of. He rescues a wolf, so that's a plus. He could always end up with, I'd read about Green Arrow and his wolf sidekick.
Sure, why not?
That'd be cool. All in all, it's good. It's not the best it's ever been. It's far from the worst. I'd give it a really good on a at a scale of 1 to 10. I would rate this at a strong 7 with possibilities to pick up to at least an 8 or a 9 within the next few issues. Bizarro #1 was amazing. Bizarro has a pet chupacabra.
Oh,
Bizarro is on a road trip with Jimmy Olsen because Superman.
I was sold a pet chupacabra.
Superman Clark gave him the chupacabra. It just kind of makes it. That was all you kind of needed is Colin the chupacabra. Bizarro named it. There is a used car salesman who actually thinks he summons the Egyptian gods, but actually they're aliens pretending to be the Egyptian gods just to fuck with humans. But they give him the power to control people, and he's using it to make them buy his cars.
Stargate.
And so it's Bizarro and Jimmy Olsen and Colin the Chupacabra versus pseudo-Egyptian used car salesman. They're on this road trip because
why not?
Clark put the bug in Jimmy's ear. Jimmy was talking to him about Bizarro, and Clark's just like, you and Bizarro on a road trip to Canada. That's a coffee table book, and he sees little dollar signs, and he decides he's going to do this road trip with Bizarro and try and make a coffee table book out of it. And of course, it goes like a road trip with Bizarro would. The best part, though, when Bizarro dreams, it's Bill Sienkiewicz art, and that makes so much sense. And I even wrote yesterday on I was like, the best part of reading this week's comics was finding out that Bizarro dreams in Bill Sienkiewicz art, and Bill Sienkiewicz liked that comment, so apparently he agrees that it's a good thing that he dreams like that. This cover oddly enough, later we'll get to Squirrel Girl, and Batmite #1's cover reminded me of the Squirrel Girl cover. Oddly, with Booster in the almost in exactly the speedball spot, so that was pretty cool. Dan Jurgens, does a really good job of writing not like Dan Jurgens, which was weird because normally he has that voice when you read something, you're like, oh yeah, this is Dan Jurgens. He went off the beaten path, and it's good. I'm not always a fan of the Batmite type characters, but all of these books that I just read for the what the hell turned out to be surprisingly good. Also, I'm going to go out and say I really didn't care one way or the other about these stupid ads. That, yes, is it stupid that they did ads that took up story pages? Yes. Is it unprecedented? No. They used to do shit like this in comics before, where they had ads at the bottom of page. Go read like your Silver Age comics. Ads went in weird places, and comic pages ended halfway down. So is this Twix thing stupid? Yes. Is it the end of the earth?
No.
No. Was it distracting? On the first one, it was distracting. But I was reading all my book, and you just and I can honestly tell you, from an ad point of view, do you want to know whether or not your ad worked? I at no point read any of this. I do know that it says Twix. Oh, and I did see the words peanut butter at the top. Did I read any of this copy? No.
Nope.
So as ads go, it wasn't, at least on me. There's your feedback. Was it a huge, I will never buy a DC comic if they... No.
Irritating?
Did the ad... It was only even irritating for the first one. Beyond that, I literally completely ignored it, which, if nothing else, means it failed as an ad. I'll stop sometimes on those, full-page ads in the middle of something and go, and look at what's there as I'm flipping through. That was in the middle of my story, so I gave 0 fucks and just kept on. So, in that regard, the ad was a failure. All new XMen. Bring it to an end and get ready for Uncanny X-Men 600, where we get Bendis' new status quo. So as Bendis is wont to do, some stuff does happen, but for the most part, this is a lot of talking heads catching you up and moving you along. Bendis likes to do those, it's a whole page of setup. Next story, next issue, somebody's going to slam dunk something. But this whole thing was just a whole lot of assists by key players. Guardian Team Up. Nightcrawler, one of my favorite characters. This, one of my least favorite issues of Guardian Team Up.
Ooh.
Why? I don't know. Nightcrawler just,
Was it Nightcrawler? Was it Guardians? Did they not mesh well?
No, it's really just Nightcrawler and Gamora versus whatever. And it's Bill Willingham, so... Story-wise, it's fun, but something about the art failed to... It was almost generic. Darth Vader. This and this. The Darth Vader and Star Wars here. These cross over so well. Yes, everybody's pissed off because this introduces the Han Solo wife. Ain't nobody gives a shit, because... We still have next issue to find out whether or not they're really married or she's nuts. But also, it literally just it bridges one step closer. Han Solo has an alleged former crazy wife who chases him around the galaxy and causes trouble. You know what that means? Han Solo and Mal Reynolds just came another step closer to being the same person.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with, because I love me some Han Solo, I love me some Mal Reynolds. I don't care. I don't. I wonder if that makes Leia Zoe in a weird kind of... Luke would definitely be the Wash of that team. So, yeah, in this universe, Luke and Wash, Zoe and Wash are siblings, and therefore Han gets,
that makes
Mal gets the girl. Chewie can't be Jane because Mal doesn't depend on Jane the way Han depends on Chewie. Almost make Chewie Zoe. Zobaka the Wookiee, whatever. There's a lot of Zoes in space. Everyone's a Zoe. But anyway, Boba Fett catches up with Luke. Luke never sees him because he's blinded by a flash grenade. Luke manages to get away. This issue ends with Boba Fett telling Vader, I got a name for him. They call him Skywalker. Both of these, Vader uses the Force and just cracks like the entire windshield, almost kills everybody. Just the windshield of this Star Destroyer is just cracking, and he's pissed. But he still manages to not tell the Emperor. When the Emperor calls him, he goes, I sense you're angry. And he's like,
A little bit.
I understand now our relationship. What he leaves out is, you some bitch. Alright, but yeah, these were good. And again, Kieran Gillen, not usually one of my favorite writers. I like his Vader work. And this issue had not a lot of the Psycho 3PO and R2 droids and the spunky Jane of all trades, quirky chick that hangs around with. Those are great characters for anything other than hanging around with Vader. I just think Vader would force choke and destroy them, and jettison them into space within 2 minutes. But they were, the bots were not in there, and Vader was in no mood to deal with spunk, so he just cut her off. He's like, just shut up, because he's Vader. He's not known for his patience and dealing with shit. You know what I'm saying?
Had a chip on his shoulders, Anakin.
Leia. It's Mark Waid writing Princess Leia. It's so she gives herself up. She's ever the diplomat, and you get this situation where she's being betrayed, but no one's betraying her on purpose. So she's giving everyone the benefit of the doubt at great cost to herself, and you get Nien Nunb. So that's always fun. Justice League 41. Jeff Johns is in a rare position. The whole New 52 is this, rechange, and then they just come straight out of Convergence with this, here's our new direction. And basically Jeff Johns gets to write a book that says, yep, that's great. It's new status quo for Superman, different costume, different powers, everybody knows who he is, okay. Batman might be, Bruce Wayne might be dead, and Commissioner Gordon is dressing inside of a Transformer, making him the ultimate tranny, and he is the new Batman. Yeah, that's great. Meanwhile, fuck you. I'm writing my... Hal Jordan is not a Green Lantern anymore. He's wearing a giant glove and whatever. No, fuck you. I'm not writing them that way. So this is like the Johns verse. This is... Look, these are the characters I'm writing. Deal with it. And we get Mr. Miracle, and the best part is, as Jeff Johns just ignores what everybody else is doing, and rightly so. Some writers do that shit, and it's annoying. This guy is doing it the right way. Mr. Miracle talks about having found love, and he talks about Barda, so apparently all that crap from Earth 2 and wherever the hell where Barda was betrayed, not in his world, so good. It's a beautiful to look at book, and it's a great read. So there. Secret Wars number 3. Stowaways, lots of stowaways. Most people don't remember the world before Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange fix it. We get a great explanation for why Doctor Strange is playing second fiddle to God Emperor Doom.
Why not?
Well, no, he was willing to help save the world, but he didn't want top billing, so he's not God, and now you kind of can't undo it, because once you recreate the universe and make Doctor Doom God, he's not likely to give that up. But they let some stowaways out, so out of one ship, it turns out the good guys that still remember the old ways are the kick-ass team of Star-Lord, Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man, Jane Foster, Thor, and Captain Marvel, and also Cyclops with the Phoenix Force. And Black Panther.
Captain Marvel, the current one?
Yeah, and
Okay.
Black Panther and devastated, heartbroken Reed Richards. Meanwhile, out of the bad guy's ship, who snuck on the bad guy's ship and stowed away? Miles Morales. So we got two Spideys that both remember two separate worlds and each other's because they remember their crossover. So it's all pretty, and they're going to be the basis of whatever happens to get the all new, all different Marvel Universe going. And I continue to be able to understand a Jonathan Hickman book, so I'm proud of myself. Or he's really dumbing it down. I don't know.
Either way, you're happy.
Whatever it is, it's working for me. Spear Iron Man. Feh. See, it's feh. That means iron. It's all about the pepper, and Tony in all forms is a dick, and
Just to varying degrees.
and yeah, she kind of. No one wins, everyone loses by the end of this, and then it ends with there is only Secret Wars. So who knows what version of Tony we'll have post Secret Wars. Future Imperfect. I don't understand how Peter David is able to keep track of all the things Peter David has done before, because there are characters in here, and I was like, whoa, whoa, I forgot he made her, Ruby Summers, and it's good, and we get next issue we're gonna get old school lumpy clay thing versus Maestro Hulk. Oh, I'm so happy with all these mixed metaphors. It's Peter David writing Peter David characters, so you have nothing to complain about. Read that. Amazing Spider-Man #1, Renew Your Vows, is really good, but makes me nervous. It's slot. It's writing the Spider-Man I've been waiting for. I didn't undo everything. One more day, Spidey. But
We don't speak of that storyline.
as a result, it's almost like they're not writing it in a here you go fans, here's what you've been begging for. It's more like a here you go fans, we're going to write a story that explains to you why that wouldn't have worked. So they're kind of justifying their own means. And I think they're selling Peter short. I liked the story, don't get me wrong, but when I think about it too much, the premise hangs on the idea of, with great power comes great responsibility. Peter Parker has a family now, so that's the ultimate responsibility is to the family. But no, that's not Peter's dilemma. And I think they've done one of those, they've almost pulled a movie move where they do we're just going to get at what's the core of the character, and then they miss. Because the core of what makes Peter Peter is he suffers from a global level of responsibility. In this, yes, Peter makes a choice, and basically the argument could be made that he's not an outright murderer, but he definitely allows Eddie Brock to be killed because Eddie Brock knows who he is and is basically telling him, I'm going to suck your baby's brains out. Maybe not today, but I will, one day I'm going to come in, I'm going to eat your baby's brains. And he's like, you know what, fuck you. And I get that. And then he hasn't been Spidey since. Also on that day, someone killed all the Avengers and stole their powers. So I get why you wouldn't be in a rush to be the last superhero standing in your little section of Battle World, but and he's like, he even says, but I've kept my family safe, and that's enough for me. But it isn't, because he's Peter Parker.
Nope.
And this is only the first issue, so that may very well be the crux of what's going on. But at least by this issue, the Parker luck isn't really luck. It's that Peter makes willful choices that always end up fucking him in the end for the greater good. And that's who Peter is he is willing to be the lonesome loser as long as it means everybody else is safe. So, boom, there's Peter Parker in a nutshell. Groot #1 was good and was almost exactly like reading an issue of Rocket. There was a really great moment, though, where Rocket and Raccoon they're looking for a spaceship, and they're just stealing little ships, and it's not working. They stop an alternate version of Superman. He doesn't get to Earth now, because they steal the rocket ship right before his dad, Kor-El, is able to put his son into the rocket ship, and their world's about to blow up, and he's like, sorry, you need to borrow this. And
Damn.
yeah, so baby dies on planet because they stole the movie version, so that's kind of cool. The Woods #13 continues to be awesome. We've got a jump in time where it's 1 year later. It's very DCU of you, but things are progressing somewhat for the better, but not always. And people are putting little
Robot's still good?
Little scarves. He's wearing a scarf and not happy about it, but yeah, Dr. Robot, the alien space monkey, is fine, and
That's all that matters.
yeah, so I'm good. Also, the creative team is dead because there's a scene with a graveyard, and it's got like names for the, there's tombstones in there for James Tinian IV, that's the writer, Michael Delianis, the artist. You can even start to see one for Josan Gonzalez, which is the the colorist. So
zombies are writing the
it
book.
looks like let's see. No, it looks like the letterer got away without dying. But I believe the names were put in by the artist, so it's not like he just, I'm going to put all of them dead and leave myself. But this is great. Read The Woods. The best part of Little Marvel, coming from, the town of Marville, the best part of this book isn't even just the typical, it's Scotty Young's Little X-Men versus Little Avengers. No, that's already great. But the best part of this book is when you stop and really take in the fact that on Battle World, where there's like a shield wall to keep out the zombies, because it's very Game of Thrones on Battle World. There's a giant wall that on the other side is the undead. Go figure. But then there's all these little factions of different alternate Marvel universes and Marvel timelines that are all fighting. But in the midst of that, these guys are actually this is part of Battle World, is these little X-Men, little Avengers.
That's fantastic.
They're there, and when you try and picture that with like the Thor police department, the Thor Corps flying overhead, and these guys down there, or Judge Doom, Dr. Doom, God Emperor Doom, judging these guys and having to execute them. That's just a great image to have. Brides of Helheim. So good. Cullen Bunn is. You get Valkyries getting their magic curse undone. Everything ends well, except possibly for our Dragar, who still has, he's got some issues. He's got to kill people he's already killed, But Brides of Helheim ends perfectly set up for. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark that the next issue is gonna be called Son of Helheim, because and things. I wonder what happens when you have dead babies, undead babies. Anyway, Unbeatable Squirrel. Look, almost in the same spot. Howard is actually in the Booster Gold spot, but there's Speedball. Who will be the newest friends of Squirrel Girl? I was so hoping it'd be Speedball, because in original, back in the day, she had a huge crush on Speedball, and I love Speedball, so I'd like to see him somewhere. So I would have liked to see him back in the book, but instead it introduces, or reintroduces, because we've met their normal identities, the team of Chipmunk Hunk, who has the same powers to talk to chipmunks that Squirrel Girl has with squirrels, and Koi Boy, who has the power to talk to fish.
Koi.
And they take her friend Nancy on a trip around the zoo to see if there are any animals Nancy's able to talk to. Also, for the most part, I've given up. I've stopped reading these little things at the bottom, because it just slows down the reading of the book and breaks up the pacing. So I've had to stop. Stray number 4 ends everything. So damn good. It's like a fun Batman. It's really the best way to describe it. It's like a fun Batman. And it sets us up for more, because Rottweiler has grown up. He's not going to take on his dad's name of the Doberman. He's going to become his own thing. He's something more, something less. He was raised by heroes, but he doesn't feel he is one of them. So he takes on the name The Stray, and it all just comes together. And it was really, 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 really good. Lobo number 7. It's Cullen Bunn. It continues to be good. I continue to not like these weird... On this cover, they made him kind of white, and that looks all right. But that weird sort of glowing blue on his face and his hair, I don't like it. It's the only thing I don't like about the new Lobo, is those bother me. And I just can't imagine how you could not go cross-eyed having those weird glowing blue patterns.
Did they finish off in the supporting cast?
The human supporting cast is gone, so I'm happy. And and he's a dick. I like this Lobo. Yeah, screw you, I said it. I
Still
like
hate
this
the
Lobo.
look.
Yeah, I can't like the little glowy bits, but I like this Lobo. He kisses. He's sleeping with this double torsoed alien chick, right? And he's using her to get her to sell him out so that the people he's looking for will come to him. But when she does it, he tells her no hard feelings, and he kisses her, and then on the one head, and then as she's leaving, the one head's like, what did he put in my... And she goes, and he slipped a little mine onto her tongue and blows the head up. Because even though she did exactly what he wanted her to, he wasn't going to let her get away with selling him out. Sixth Gun, Valley of Death. Getting some more origins in the Sixth Gun world. This time we've got a scared Kaifu. That's kind of the most disturbing part of the entire book, is Kaifu getting panicky. We get the origins of White Wolf, and you see some Sister of Vulture, but also, yeah, one of the characters we follow through the end. In the end, we find out he has a very familiar name. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. It's Screaming Crow, who we know better as a shrunken head that possesses people. And let's see. Last comic, I've got one trade left. Last comic is Dave, issue 5, which ends greatly because it ends with catchy tagline, something, something, butts, 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 fart, horn sound goes here. Dave 2, in your face, September 2015. Dave saves the day and is now training a new army for potential invasion. So his problem was he was a war robot, and then there was no more war. So they put him in a cubicle, and he just couldn't readjust. Now it turns out there are hostile aliens out there. So he gets to train new groups, and he accepts the fact that his personality, or in his case his programming, is to be an asshole. So he accepts the fact that he's never going to be popular. But now he's got a purpose, and sometimes it's more important. Actually, all the time, that's more important than being popular. And finally, the trade to Big Trouble in Little China is out. This book is so good, so good. Read this and forget all about any potential remakes with The Rock, because no, Rock, put that down, Rock. Dwayne, honey, put that down. That's not yours. Put that down. It's not yours. We don't just play with other people's things, Dwayne. Go be the Scorpion King over there. Okay, you go be the Scorpion King. Okay. Alrighty then. So this is great, and every time you see an ad pop up on your Facebook, or someone posting, "Oh my God, did you see this?" You just wash your eyes and read this until you feel better. All right, until old Jack Burton says, "Fuck it, this is awesome. It's so good. It's so good. It smells nice too. You might be able to get high off this."
Don't do that.
Put me in the hells of. I'm sent to the hell of the Dwayne Johnson remake. That's the special Chinese hell that I'm
So many hells.
So many hells. All right. Speaking of hells, I have to go pick up my wife.